Yes, indeed. Big Brother Bear here to give you all that you want and what you need. Today, I've picked out 6 things that you can learn from looking at the NBA Last Dance docu-series. All these things are for college students. So if you're not in college, but you're heading to college, it's going to be good. But if you're in college already, this information is still going to be good. Stay tuned to the very end. 6 things that I know is going to help you being the best student athlete. Hoop loud. If you have not been watching the Last Dance docu-series, you have missed out. The last day was on a Sunday, but they do reruns. But just in case you missed out, I'm going to give you the game of what happened and what you can take away as far as being a student athlete. And all my points today, I'm going to tell you the story, and then I'm going to give you the key point of what you can take away from this. And my first story is this. Detroit Pistons, led by Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, Joe Dumars, John Sally, Dennis Rodman, just to name a few. This team was unique for a number of reasons, but the number one reason that they're known for is their physical style of play. Now, this physical style of play didn't stop when Your Highness Michael Jordan showed up. Oh no, they even had certain rules for Michael Jordan when they showed up. They had rules like making sure that you foul him, making sure that he doesn't get any layups, make sure that he gets no dunks. They were as physical as possible with him. Threw him on the ground, didn't check to see how he was okay, right? Fouled him aggressively, him and everybody else. And it's by far one of my favorite stories of the whole document series. And I know some of you are like, well, Bill, why is that your favorite story? Why is it your favorite story that someone's getting hurt? Why is it your favorite story that this person had to risk injury? He had to go get up, pick himself off the ground over and over and over again to get to his goal until he finally got past that team. It's my favorite part because that is life. Because that definitely is life as a student athlete. That's life as a college student, period. And that is, you have this linear approach of what you think it's going to look like when you go to college. Or if you're already in college, you know this to be true. You think that it's going to be much like high school, like everybody's going to roll the red carpet out. Everybody else is maybe rolling the red carpet out for Michael Jordan around the league. Right? They were happy that he was the cash cow. You know, he brought so much notoriety to the league globally. Why wouldn't you want to jump onto that? But the Detroit Pistons didn't jump on that. And now what I'm telling you is, when you get to college, everybody else is not going to jump on the bandwagon of what you saw in high school from you playing basketball. Everybody doesn't care. Some of your professors are going to be tougher on you because you're a student athlete. Because they had some horrible experiences with student athletes that came before you that felt entitled, that didn't get in their work on time, that just weren't good students. So you have to deal with that as well. And then you have some professors that are indifferent. They just don't care. They don't care if you're a student athlete or not, but it's not going to help you. You're still going to have to work hard from that. And then beyond that, we have to talk about things that are just going to happen. How are you going to deal with that? How are you going to deal with some of the things? Because in your mind, you have a straight path as far as how this is going to work. Michael Jordan may have had a straight path as how it's going to work. We're going to work hard. We're going to be competitive. We're going to win championships. But then when you get in there, you find out different things that's happening before. You find out different things that happen. Life happens. Your parents may be thinking about getting divorced. They may have lost the house. You lose a loved one, right? The financial aid check that was supposed to be there is not there. So now that's going to be late on this bill. You failed this class, you dropped this class, and now you can't drop any more classes because you can't go below 12 credit hours and still be considered full time. The Pell check didn't come through. You've gotten injured. Your girlfriend you were so crazy about dumped you. Like, there's so many things that happen on that path of getting to your destination. And it's not a straight line. Everybody's not going to roll out the car before you and say, come on, right this way. We've been waiting on you. You're going to have some opposition. You're going to have some structures in your path. That's the part that gets me excited, because now we get to see what you're made of. Now we get to see, are you going to be one of those student athletes that, oh, well, since it's tough now, I think I lost my love for the game. I think I want to pack it up and go home. Or are you going to figure out a way to pivot? You're going to figure out a way to recalibrate. You're going to figure out a way to reassess what it needs, what you need to actually get to your goal. Now, if you watch the document series, you saw that Michael Jordan did just that. He went back the next summer. He got stronger. He got wiser. He looked at the game a little bit different. He started to pay attention to where the defense is going to come. He started to realize that he wouldn't be able to do it himself. He had to readjust. He couldn't just go in there with brute force and with a straight mind, linear approach and say, this is going to work this way and that's how we're going to do it. No, that's not how it's going to work. And that's not how it's going to work with your student athletes. You got to be able to adjust. Number 2, the second thing you can take away from the document series comes from a story of Dennis Rodman. Listen, Dennis Rodman was on some other stuff, man. This is on some other stuff. Don't get me wrong, he was good at what he did, called him the worm. This guy will go in there and mess around and get 2 points, but 20 rebounds. By himself, 20 rebounds. Workhorse, got his stuff taken care of. It's amazing. But the side circus that he brought was a journalist's dream. They always had something to talk about. This guy flew before a game during the weekend to go to Vegas to come back when he's supposed to be with the team, right? You would see him doing WCW wrestling when he's supposed to be with the team. You would see him going out to parties in Vegas when he should be with the team. You can see him do all these things. So quite naturally, a lot of reporters had some issues with that. They pressed Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen about this. They wanted to get the dirt on what's going on. Before I can tell you what the takeaway is, let me go ahead and double down and say there's another situation where Scottie Pippen wasn't getting paid the money that he was supposed to get paid, right? I didn't know this until I watched the docuseries, but Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen had an issue with management. The actual GM and the actual owner of the team, they butt heads about management. But one thing that you can take away from this is, I've never in any of the interviews heard Michael Jordan, heard Scottie Pippen, heard Phil Jackson trash them. They've never trashed them and talked negative about them. Whether it be Dennis Rodman doing his thing, his side circus thing on the side, or whether it be Jerry Krause as far as his decision making. When they got behind those podiums after the games, they didn't trash their teammates. So what can you bring from that? Not to trash your teammates, not to trash your management. It's easy when you're going through difficult times as being a student athlete to trash your coach and say he or she doesn't know what they're talking about, to make fun of the organization, your team, your management. It's easy to do that. But I encourage you to do the exact opposite. I encourage you to do the exact opposite. If you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. There was a sense of they were very polished as far as delivering public statements. Even though they were upset with the management, everything didn't go well, everything wasn't great behind the scenes. But I was very impressed that they still looked out for their team. Number 3. Now this one comes from a story about LeBradford Smith. Now LeBradford played for the Washington Bullets, if I'm not mistaken, and he had a night, did amazing, right? Scored about 36, 37 points in one game, and Michael Jordan was guarding him, doing some of those points as well. He was guarding him, and LeBradford Smith, a person that some people would say a no-name guy, got hot, and everything he threw up went in. So, the story has it as they were exiting the gym, Bradford Smith leans over to Michael Jordan and says, "Good game," and taps him and walks off. Now, Michael Jordan, being the competitive person he is, he takes offense to that, keeps that in his memory bank for the next time they play him. Well, they play that same team the following night. Michael Jordan tells his whole team what the guy said to him and says, "I'm going to score what he scored the whole game in the half." Michael Jordan did what he said he was going to do. He got those points. And after the game, after the Bulls won that game, it was found out that Michael Jordan lied about what LeBradford Smith said to him. LeBradford Smith never even talked to him. He wasn't even near him when he left the gym. What you can take away from that is being able to be a self-starter, being able to self-motivate yourself, not relying on someone to light a fire under you to go to class, to not be dependent upon a coach to light a fire under you to go hard in the workouts, or to leave it out all on the basketball court. Being able to ignite a fire in yourself, even if it's a story that you're lying to yourself about, even if it's something that you have to make up, whatever it takes for you to get motivated, for you to have that competitive edge moving forward, is helpful. The 4th story I have from you is Michael Jordan being so competitive. He's just so competitive. I saw him gambling with his security, pitching quarters against a wall, playing cards on a plane. Like, they talked about him gambling and different things. But one thing that really showed me how competitive he was and how much pride he had in just competing is when they went to the Olympics. The Dream Team went to the Olympics, and Reebok paid for their attire. So brand sponsorship paid for their clothing, but Michael Jordan was actually sponsored by Nike. I saw that competitive drive come out. He knew that he didn't want to represent Reebok. Despite all the money they paid to make sure that he had their jacket, he said, you know what, I'm going to cover it with the American flag. I'm going to drape it over my arms, and I'm going to, I'm not going to give them the opportunity to take pictures with me in this Reebok jacket when I'm with Nike. For me, that was showing a different type of competitive drive. I bring this up because it's very cool for student athletes to say I'm competitive, because they see the Kobe's, they see the Michael Jordans, they see some of the best say, well, you got to be competitive. I'm just competitive in nature. I want to win. You hear it on draft day all the time. All the guys go in there and tell you how competitive they are. Yeah, I know. But my thing is this: are you just competitive to the game of basketball? Because if you're competitive, why aren't you competitive in your classwork as well? Why aren't you competitive as far as making sure that stuff is taken care of? Or are you? Because my thing is, you should be. It should seep over. You shouldn't just be competitive just towards basketball. Like, it kills me when someone's super competitive with basketball, but they got D's and F's in classes. Like, no competitive drive. You're just gonna take this line down. You don't even care. There's no sense of pride. There's no competition. There's no competitive drive that way. But you're a whole 100 on this side. And what I want you to take away from the story I just mentioned earlier is Michael Jordan was competitive in multiple different areas, not just on the basketball court. He was competitive as far as brand deals and sponsorships. He was competitive as it relates to even his recreation activity when it came to golf and when it came to pitching quarters against a doggone wall with his security guards. He was competitive in multiple areas in his life, and it wasn't just basketball related. And I challenge you to do the same thing. I challenge you to be competitive in school as well, to be competitive in the legacy that you're going to leave these universities once you're gone. Like, what will they say in your absence? And if the only thing they say about you is you can dribble a ball, you can throw a ball through a hoop, or you can run a touchdown, or you can hit a baseball, then you've lost. You've wasted your time. You've wasted your time. Number 5 story comes from hearing all the stories throughout the document series of how Michael Jordan approached the game. In practice, in his speech, everything seemed like it was crafted for greatness. Everything. It wasn't just that he was ready for the game-winning shot. Over and over you would see situations where he got to the gym early, stayed late, he pushed others to get their very best out of them. He made sure that he got better in the off season. He made sure that he was knowledgeable about everybody's strengths and weaknesses throughout the league. What I took from that is greatness is not a singular act. A lot of times we just want that victory lap at the end. The hitting the shot at the end, the getting all the glory at the end. But it's not a single act. It happens over and over and over and over a period of time. That's the same thing that we can say about school. That's the same thing we say about our respective sports, in the sense of it's not just a home run. Greatness is not an act. It's a repeated habit. It's a repeated onslaught of doing the little things, the boring things that you don't want to do on a regular basis. My next point I want to make is, this doc series showed how mean Michael Jordan was. Let's just call it what it is. The way he talked to people on the basketball court to push them, to get the most out of them, it would have made a lot of individuals cry. A lot of individuals cry. And so one thing that you can pull away from that is be more mindful of the message and not the value. There are going to be some people, there are going to be some coaches, there are going to be some teachers, there are going to be even mom and dad that may say some things to you, and it has some value, but it's not in a pretty box with the ribbon. It doesn't have all the trimmings that make you feel good. Ask yourself, is there something of what they're saying that's of value that could benefit from it? If it is, then let me not be my feelings and not receive the gift because it wasn't packaged the way I would have packaged it. Because they didn't rub my shoulders and massage my ego and tell me how great I was, then I can't benefit from this information. And then my last tip I'm going to leave you with is this. All the rough practices that the Bulls went through, all the berating that Michael Jordan put them through sometimes in practice, talking bad to them, all those injuries they had to go through, all the road games they had to go through, is another thing that's indicative to being a student athlete. Because there has to be a time Think about it. In the regular season, they were playing 82 games, just in the regular season alone. There had to be a time where they're like, man, is this even worth it? Golly, I got to spend time with my family. Mike is riding me. Mike is giving me a hard time every time I go to practice. I'm not getting paid as much as I should get paid. I'm missing out on my family stuff. Like, is it worth it? And what I would say to you is, you're gonna ask some of those same questions being a student athlete. Going through injuries, being away from home, battling classes, worrying about things financially. Because let's be honest, some of y'all think that being a student athlete means everything gets paid for. That sometimes it happens, but sometimes it doesn't happen. I know student athletes didn't get anything paid for. So dealing with finances and making sure things get paid for, or trying to get things paid for, being in debt, and you ask yourself, are these things worth it? All the stuff you have to deal with as far as classes are concerned, failing classes, having to change your major, going through that side of things, time management, all those things. Is it worth it? And what I pulled from that last story is winning cures everything. Winning cures everything. But when you look in the NBA Finals, when you look at that championship team, and they're sitting on that podium, and they're holding up the trophy, kissing the trophy, taking pictures with the trophy, and all that stuff, no one's complaining about how sore their legs were. No one's complaining about the time that they had to spend extra time in the gym. So the same thing for you. When it's all said and done, and you're about to graduate as a student athlete, and you get to look back, and you're taking pictures with your bachelor's degree or master's degree, you're not going to be looking back. You're not going to be sitting here complaining about the long nights you spent in the study hall, the times you had to go talk to the teacher during office hours. You're not going to be worried about all that stuff. You're going to be so happy that you stayed with it, gutted it out. Those are my takes from the Last Dance docu-series that I feel like was going to help you being a student athlete in college. If I missed some, let me know. Put them in the comments. I would love to review them and talk to you in the comments about those topics. So as always, whether it's on the court or off, in the classroom or out, graduate at the top of your class. Hoop